everyone. Welcome back to our Golden 20s podcast. My name is Sadie, and I'm joined by my co-host Tegan. And today we are doing a life hacks you should know in your 20s, part 2. I think out of the 4 years we've been doing this is the only episode that officially has a part 2. But we wanted to do this because the original life hacks you should know in your 20s episode is one of our most listened to episodes. It actually had like a little viral moment last fall, I think it was. We put it out like August, September. Yeah. So you guys clearly love it. So here we are again, bringing you more life hacks that we have discovered through our 20s and we want to share with you. However, before we jump into that, we are going to start today's episode with a connection card.
Great. For those who are playing along at home, we are in the green category. So we're past icebreakers, but we're not too deep yet. So, oh my gosh, this question is, are you living your best life? Why or why not?
Not me about to have a mental breakdown on the podcast.
I'm like, this is kind of deep.
For the first time in 4 years, Sadie cries on the podcast. No, I'm kidding. So my answer is yes, but this is the version of my best life that I've been like working for. I feel like I've been saying this actually a few times on the podcast in recent episodes, but where the life I'm currently living is the life I've been dreaming of for the past 10 years. In that idea, this is the best version of my life. What is the question? Best version of your life, your best life?
Are you living your best life?
Best life. Okay, yeah. So yes. However, I feel like I haven't really been challenging or pushing myself where I could be maybe achieving more now, but I feel you can always fall into those kind of like mind traps. The other thing, sorry, now I'm just going to go on this whole rant, but this other thing that I've been thinking about so much this week is since the pandemic, I'm one of those people that feels like life isn't real anymore. Therefore, how can it be my best life if it doesn't even feel real? But anyways, I finally saw an answer on TikTok why I'm feeling this way, which is ironic that I saw it on TikTok. But this guy was saying that you don't feel like you're living a real life anymore because you're not existing in a physical world anymore the same way you were pre-pandemic. Everything is virtual. So it's not real life. And when I thought about that, I was like, that it explains it so much. Like I knew working from home was like a lifestyle adjustment, but I didn't really think about how much of a change that is and how like work isn't a place anymore. It's just something I do 8 hours a day in my house. Like, I don't know. So I feel like all this to come back to the connection card question is I am living my best life, but at the same time, I'm starting to feel like I need to make changes in order to keep considering it my best life. If it's this next phase of my life, new goals, if it's changing things so I feel like I'm living real life and not just in this pandemic-y aftermath life. I don't know. That's my very long-winded answer.
I totally agree and understand what you're saying, though. I feel like my answer is kind of similar, where I'm like, yes, I wouldn't say I'm not, but there are things I could be doing to make it better. So I think the things that come to mind for me is like I need to prioritize the things that make me feel good. And that's hard for me to do because I'm a people pleaser. So I don't want to prioritize myself. So it's like if I can continue to work on that and focus, like it's like I feel like I never have enough time to be working out, or I'm never prioritizing like my skincare. I want to journal before bed, but I never give myself the space to do that. And so it's like it's because I'm not prioritizing me and what I want. So I think that if I continue working on that, I will. But it's like a constant battle due to my people pleasing ways.
Yeah. And I feel like, too, when I was in my early 20s, it was like living my best life is the only option. Where now, later in my 20s, I'm like, no, even if you're going through a good phase of life, you still have bad days, you know? And even if you have, like, you're in a bad phase of life, you still have good days. Like, I think exactly what you were just saying, Tag, or like starting to say is it's always a constant ebb and flow, where I feel like that's just life.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, great. Well, I'm scared for when these cards get even deeper because I feel like the green categories already kind of get deep, but we will see how that goes. But we can get started on chatting through some life hacks. I wrote down a whole bunch. Some are like super simple and some are deep, but we can just run them back and forth and hopefully all the listeners get some good hacks along the way. So the first thing that I thought of is, I think something I saw on TikTok maybe, but it's to take a picture of your coat check stub so that if you lose it, you're still able to get your coat and you can just show the picture. I've actually, knock on wood, never had to do that. I usually have always had my coat check stub, but it's just the good little backup option because you don't want to not be able to get your coat.
Yeah. Honestly, I just started doing this in probably the past, I don't know, 2 years. And it is a game changer because I'm that girl who always, always, always loses my coat check stub. And or it's in my purse, but I just can't find it when I need it, especially when there's a huge line. Everybody's waiting for their coat. So this is definitely a game changer. I know people also apply this logic to taking pictures of like their hair straighteners before they leave the house to make sure they actually turned it off. But it's like anything you're going to need to remember later, or you might have anxiety. Yeah, your parking spot. You maybe will have anxiety about this in the future. Just take a picture to help out your future self.
Yeah.
Okay, my first one, none of mine are very deep. I will start by saying that. And you're going to see that from the first one that I have here. So I was thinking so much about this lately because I'm like, you know how people are always like, no matter what, I can't replicate a restaurant level meal at home. Like it just never tastes as good. And it's like when you're making a salad, why does salad always taste better at a restaurant than it does at home? And something that I've started doing lately that has totally leveled up my dinners specifically, but also lunches, I guess, is marinating my meat. And I feel like that is helping me unlock this restaurant level meal at home. So typically I'm a big chicken girl, so marinating chicken, but then adding that chicken to your salad is what's going to take it to the next level. If it's adding like grilled chicken to a sandwich, something like that, or if you're maybe having like salmon and like some sort of like potatoes or something, like marinate your meat. It like definitely tastes better, but it also just feels so much better. It's like tender. It just feels very restaurant-y, I guess, but it's so easy to do. And typically these things are like things I already have in my pantry. Like I have basic spices stocked, which actually was part of Life Hacks You Should Know in Your 20s Part 1. I go through what all the basics you should have in your pantry are. And a lot of marinades are just throwing a whole bunch of those things together. They're easy, they're inexpensive, but they are so, so good.
Yeah, I love that. I had a food tip as well, which was to figure out if your eggs are still good to use. Put them in a clear cup or bowl of water because fresh eggs will lay flat. Eggs that are a couple weeks old will stand, and so like the pointy end will point up. And eggs that have gone bad will float. And the science behind that is as eggs get bad, they have gas within their shell. So the less gas there is, the more flat they lay on the bottom. So that can be a good tip. I know especially some people take their eggs out of the cartons that have the dates on them and put them in like an aesthetic carton. And then you're like, wait, are these eggs still good? I don't know. That can be a quick and easy way to check.
Oh, I've never heard that before. I'll have to try it.
See if your eggs are good. I do feel like you would smell it if you broke an egg.
That's what I always think.
Bad, but that's what I tell myself. I guess if you're doing hard-boiled eggs, though, you wouldn't know until after.
Yeah.
But
very true.
That's how you know.
Interesting. I'll have to give it a try. Okay, what else do I have? Maybe I'll stick with just like home type, not necessarily cooking, but just home type life hacks. So this is something kind of new to me, but when I was thinking about it, I was like, okay, no, this makes a lot of sense. So using peel and stick home decor and storage solutions, especially if you live in a rental. So when I first thought of peel and stick, I was like, peel and stick wallpaper, peel and stick like backsplash tiles, peel and stick what is that paper called that you can like put inside your like drawers, or you can even like cover countertops. Like I always envisioned it something like that, where it's changing like the look of your rental. But I was like, those feel like big tasks. So I just stayed away from the whole peel and stick idea. However, I've unlocked the whole peel and stick storage solutions, and this has been a total game changer. So in my shower, I have peel and stick shelves to hold all my like shampoo, body wash, things like that. Mine even actually have like little hooks on them so I can hang my loofah. I have like a foot scrub brush that has a thing to hang it by. So that is super helpful in the shower. It's like holds so much weight. I also in my bathroom have peel and stick toilet paper holders. I have very like small floor space in my bathrooms where I did have just like regular toilet paper holders that just had like a stand essentially. And it wasn't the end of the world. I've lived that way for like 6-7 years of living in this apartment, but recently I made this shift to peel and stick toilet paper holders. I put them on the side of my vanity. You can't even see them when you look into the bathroom now, which I really love that, but it also just clears up the floor space. So I love that. I've also seen people use command strips to hang picture frames rather than putting holes in the wall. Again, especially important if you are a renter. Just things like that. I was also thinking about when I'm hanging up seasonal decor, if it's like wreaths, if it's Christmas lights, if it's anything like that. I love peel and stick command hooks. Garlands is another one. So I think just peel and stick everything and look on Amazon, because that's where I've gotten like my peel and stick shelves and the toilet paper holders, things like that. And these can also be like kind of inexpensive, I guess. But anyways, wanted to throw that out there. And then if you are like wanting to try this, make sure you actually follow the instructions to install them properly, especially if they're going to be holding a lot of weight. So for instance, the ones in my shower, it was like put it up and don't put any, like actually I had to put the adhesive up, have that sit for I think it was like 24 or 48 hours, and then put the shelf on it, and then that had to sit before I actually put weight in it. So just make sure you're installing it properly, otherwise there's a high chance it's just going to fall as soon as you put it up, which isn't great.
Great. Yeah, I love that. One tip that I had, this is one of my deep ones, but it's the idea of, especially if you are scared of like getting older, that sort of vibe. I feel like the biggest way to stay young is to continue to grow. And that can mean whatever it means. To me, that's like continuing to read a lot of books and different kind of books, watching different movies and listening to different music. Like you don't have to just listen to the music you liked when you were a teenager. I feel like that's a fun way to keep yourself young and just stay like in touch with what's going on in the world, discover new and interesting things. I also think it applies to talking to different types of people. Like you never know who you may meet out in the world just because someone's younger or older than you or looks different than you doesn't mean that you can't have an amazing connection with them. And so I think that that's a part of it, continuing to push yourself, whether it's like physically trying new workouts or whether it's mentally trying to learn new languages. I feel like as soon as you stop trying to grow, that's when you start to get like really out of touch and seem quite old. So that's a big tip, especially if you're in your later 20s and being like, time's ticking by. Oh my gosh. I just find that that can keep you young.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the idea of it keeping you young. Like, yeah, I think that's so good. I just signed up for or subscribed to the New York Times. My sister has had her subscription for years now, and she always uses her gift articles to send me things, but I just subscribe myself, and I'm like, this is me. Yeah, continuing to learn, continuing to stay in the know, feed my brain. Yeah, I love that tip. Okay, my next one is all about skincare, of course. As we know, this is something I'm deeply passionate about. However, the life hack here, first of all, let's start it with a little bit of a hard truth that, or tough love hard truth that I constantly have to remind myself. If you watch as much YouTube as I do or follow influencers on social media, it is an important reminder to know that your whole skincare and makeup routine probably can't come from Sephora. That is not realistic for a lot of people. It is very expensive, and to be completely honest, it's unnecessary for all of your products to cost like $70 to $100 and have like a multi-step skincare and makeup routine. So the life hack here is to use drugstore brands and go to TikTok, search for dupes, because there are so many good dupes out there that are way more cost efficient. I'm really big into the e.l.f. makeup line. Also, just even like L'Oreal products and things like that. Like, these things are sometimes like a third of the price of Sephora products, but do just as well of a job, or sometimes even better. And then the biggest life hack here, this is probably very obvious to a lot of people. I'm not a big Amazon shopper, so I was floored when I saw how much cheaper things are on Amazon than they are at the drugstore or other places. So make sure you are checking out Amazon. Not that I like support Amazon, because I do feel like there's so many evils. Like, I'm like, okay, I can either buy this face cream at Shoppers, which is like a huge ass business I don't really want to be supporting here in Canada, or I can buy it from Amazon, which is a huge ass business. You know, like, it's all not good. But if you're looking to save money, look on Amazon. For instance, I have an example that this is where I was like, okay, I need to like talk about this. I bought a L'Oreal face cream, a night moisturizer from Amazon. It was like $30 regular price. At Shoppers Drug Mart, it's regular $56, and it was on sale for the Amazon price. And I was like, this should not be allowed. Like, what the heck? But then I was looking and I was like, that's everything. Like, everything is so much cheaper on Amazon. So that is the life hack.
Yeah, I love that, especially bringing up like the influencer side of things, because like, we are not influencers, but I literally have an entire skincare lineup from PR that's been sent to me. So it's like, of course, that's what they're showing, because it's like, that's what they're getting sent. And if you're getting sent these expensive products, of course you're going to use them. But it's not realistic that a regular person who isn't getting sent those products for free can use the $100 face moisturizer and the $100 serum and, you know, whatever it is. So
the Rare Beauty was another big one, because I was like, everybody's wearing Rare Beauty. And then all the YouTubers I watch, at some point or another, they've been like, oh, I'm running empty on this. I'm just going to email the Rare Beauty team to send me more. And it's like, oh, that's why you're always wearing Rare Beauty? Like, that's not sustainable for everyday people like us. Like, that's not an option for us. So anyways, that's a whole other
email
podcast
Rare Beauty.
episode.
Get us on that list.
I don't know.
Yeah, so crazy. One tip I had is to get yourself a wrinkle spray. And I hate ironing. Sadie knows this because she loves ironing, or maybe just hates wrinkles.
I hate wrinkles.
And is like, girl.
I hate wrinkles so much. But I've never used a wrinkle spray.
Ooh, it is so good. So this is the best for when you're in a pinch. Obviously, with certain types of fabrics, like, you need an iron, or I'm very pro steamer. You need a steamer. But the idea with the wrinkle spray is if it's like you're running out the door and realize, oh my gosh, I've been sitting in these jeans all day and they're all wrinkled at the bottom, or whatever it is. And so sometimes what I'll do is throw whatever it is in the dryer. My dryer actually has a de-wrinkle setting, and it just spins it around for 15 minutes. So what I'll do is put the piece of clothing in the dryer if it can be put there. And then you spray it with this wrinkle spray. And it's basically like relaxes the clothing. It also smells really good. This is, if anyone watches Below Deck, when they're making the beds and they're spraying them and then like they run their fingers over them, they're spraying a wrinkle spray. And so it just makes it so all the bedding's completely flat and it smells good. So this is my favorite hack to just like have on hand. I especially like it, like I said, if I've been wearing like a shirt all day and then like the back gets all crinkled from sitting in my chair, like, you give yourself a little spritz and you're good to go. It doesn't work for like pressing tuxedo pants or something. Like, it's only something that would be kind of getting relaxed with your body heat anyways, but I highly, highly recommend a wrinkle spray. I even spray it on like, I have a fabric shower curtain. Sometimes it gets like crinkled up and I'm like, nope, spray, 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 spray on the bedding, throw pillows, anything like that.
Interesting. Again, I'll have to give it a try. I was trying to remember what our last wrinkle encounter was, like why you were like Sadie is so
New
pro
York.
ironing, but it was New York. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it your
'Cause I
pink
was like,
jumpsuit?
I look fine. And you were like, let
No.
me
And
just
I
take
was
out
like,
the
can
iron.
yeah. And I was like, can I please iron this for you? Like, it would make me feel better if I ironed this
Yeah.
for you. So funny. Yeah. I don't know why I'm so anti wrinkles, but they just drive me nuts.
Probably from working in retail. That would be
Yeah,
my
that
guess.
is 1000% it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Okay. How to keep houseplants alive. So in Life Hacks You Should Know in Your 20s Part 1, I talked about how to keep cut flowers fresh for long periods of time or longer than a couple days. So today I was like, let's follow that up, but with houseplants. I will be honest, I'm not the best person to be giving this advice. However, I have come a very long way and I'm going to share the tips that have helped me keep my houseplants alive. The first and probably most important thing that my mom taught me is that you want to make sure your plant is in an appropriate size pot. So I think if you have a small plant, but you're wanting it to grow big, maybe you're like, oh, I'll just put it in a big pot. However, a lot of plants, that'll be too much space for them and they actually don't thrive in that. They need to be under potted versus over potted. So make sure you are potting your plant in an appropriate size pot and then repotting it as it grows. That's how you'll actually see it grow and encourage that growth as well. It's also a good idea to do just basic research on the type of plant that you bought and then see how much light and water that it needs. I think the biggest thing here is how much light it needs, and then you can figure out where in your home you should put it based off that information. So I have lots of little succulent type things that require quite a bit of light. So I put them in the back half of my house, which is south facing, which is the best facing windows for plants that need a lot of light. However, I have other plants that don't need quite as much light, and I put those in my west-facing windows, and they're totally fine. So that's just something to know. General rule of thumb is south-facing windows are better for plants that need a lot of light, east and west-facing for ones that need medium light or maybe not direct sunlight or direct light, but in moderate amounts kind of thing. Just think about that. To be honest, before I started taking my house plant seriously, I never even thought about it. I was like, okay, I have a window here, I'm going to put my plant there. I didn't actually think about, is that the right spot and the right amount of light for that plant? So definitely might sound obvious to some people, but wasn't obvious for me. I think another big thing that helps me is by adding kind of habit stacking watering my plants. So I have a weekly cleaning routine that I do through my house. So I've just layered on watering my plants to that. Again, I'm sometimes really good at that. Other times I completely forget for weeks on end. And it's not until they're shriveling up that I'm like, oh gosh, look how thirsty my plant looks. But I think if you can get in the routine of when to water your plants, you do it more regularly. That being said, with summer coming up, also instead of doing it on a weekly routine, there's times when it's really hot here in the city, really humid, if it's really windy, all of those things can dry out your plants quicker. So it might even be part of my daily routine that I'm outside watering the plants on my balcony. And then something else that I've started to do is using water globes. So these you fill with water and then stick them in your plant, and it gradually waters your plant without you having to keep an eye on it kind of thing. So I use these when I'm going away, especially for a week or something through the summer where my plants need a lot of water. I'll stick multiple watering globes within my plants. But it could also just be good if you're someone who forgets to water their plants on a regular basis, even if you're at home. That could be an extra safety measure, I guess, to make sure your plants are getting lots of water. And then the last thing, I'm sorry, I feel like I've been talking forever, but this one is important, is to keep your plants clean. So this could look a few different ways. The first is deadheading. So if it's a flower type plant, especially in the summertime, if you have a balcony or something like that, picking off all of the flowers that have died, just taking those off. They usually come off really easily, but it could also be like cutting leaves off. I have like a palm plant, for instance, and as soon as it starts getting like all shriveled up and brown leaves, I just completely cut those off. And the idea is once those are gone, then the plant can focus on growing new things and just care for those. So that's the first thing on keeping your plant clean. And then the last thing is to use a damp cloth to just wipe off the leaves or wipe off the stems, especially if it's a houseplant that's kept inside. I guess actually even outside, like from road dirt and things like that, but wiping off like dust, anything like that, just to keep things, vibrant and bright, but just encourages healthy health of your plant.
Love it. Love it. My next tip is to learn how to make your favorite drink. I feel like this is something as soon as you like turn 19 here in Canada or turn 21 if you're in the States, you like go to a bar and figure out, ooh, I love margaritas or whatever it is, and then learning how to make it at home and perfecting it, getting like your little glasses that fit your drink and getting the vibe right. Because then you can make this for every single pre-drink. It can be your like getting ready to go out drink. Any party at your place, you can make it. And it's just cheaper than going out to a bar. If you're like, I just really want a spicy margarita tonight. That's all I want, one spicy margarita. It's like, if you know how to make it at home, life is good.
What's your drink?
Sorry, that tip was so short.
No, that's okay. I'm going to ask a follow-up question. What's your drink that you make?
I have a couple. My favorite drink of all time is the Blue Hawaiian. However, if you drink a lot of them, it turns your tongue blue. Sometimes I embrace that vibe, but then other times I'm like, I don't think tonight's the night that I need to have like blue teeth, tongues and lip. But I'm very into that. I can also make a Mai Tai, which is a little more cray-cray. And I can also make cosmopolitans. My dream would be to make espresso martinis at home because that is like my go-to drink, but I don't have an espresso maker.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, it seems a bit excessive to buy one to occasionally make myself espresso martinis. But maybe if I had a bigger kitchen, I would.
Yeah. I could see Tyrell being an espresso guy. Like, not for espresso martinis, but for, like, actual coffee.
Like, getting into it.
So, So maybe if you had an espresso machine, you guys would find other use cases for it. Not that I'm enabling this purchase, but...
I'll get the Smeg one. And I think the Smeg espresso maker is like $900, but why not?
I feel my go-to drink is... Like, I really love sangria. So at home, my go-to recipe is rosé wine, which I don't typically drink on its own, but in sangria, it's so good. Either like Sprite or some sort of like lemon lime soda, and then orange slices, lime slices, and strawberries. This is usually if I'm like having people over. That makes like a really good pitcher or like, you know, punch bowl kind of thing. But that's probably my go-to drink to make at home.
Love it.
Okay, my last tip, I will try to keep this much shorter. I love how you're like, I'm sorry that was so short. And I'm like, I'm sorry that was so rambly. But this one should be fairly short. And it's not even really a life hack, but these are, like, it's not specific. These are just 5 things that make me feel better no matter what mood I'm in or no matter what's wrong. So this could be if I'm tired, if I'm anxious, if I have cramps, if I feel sick, literally anything like that where something's wrong. Even if I don't know what's wrong or why I'm feeling this way, I'll do one of these things and I instantly feel better. First thing, I need fresh air. This could look like opening the windows or it could look like going for a walk, but fresh air cures so much. It especially cures hangovers. Let me say that. I also think hot showers. This is another big hangover cure, but there's nothing a hot shower can't fix. Like, I swear to God, if I've had the most stressful, brutal day, I feel like a hot shower is pressing the reset button and I feel significantly better or like a whole different person after a good hot shower, especially washing my hair. I don't know. There's just something about rinsing the day off and starting new. I also reach for my hot pad all the time. This is especially key for like cramps or muscle soreness, but it's also all the little other things that come along with being a woman in your late 20s, like body aches and pains, your lower back hurting, like just anything, put a hot pad on it and it instantly feels so much better. Similarly is like taking a bath or something like that, but I have to be in the right mood for a bath. A hot pad, it always hits. The last two are maybe niche, but mint tea. I swear to God, mint tea cures everything. If I'm like, I need a drink, but I don't know what I feel like drinking, make a mint tea. If I feel bloated, if I feel sick, if I, again, have cramps, anything where I just need something to like hug my insides, mint tea will do it. And then the last thing is probably the newest in this list is my ice roller. This is like the facial roller that I keep in my freezer. Whipping that out. I whipped it out this morning actually because I was like, I'm so tired. I don't feel like working. Ice roll my face and I'm like, okay, I feel better. Like I feel like I can do this. So that's another really great little thing to reset in the middle of the day or just reset your mood if you're in a funky mood.
Yeah, I love my ice roller. I got it for my birthday last year and it is so good. I find especially for anxiety, it like sometimes if you're really worked up, when you put it on your face, it like takes your breath away. So, and then it's almost like you can't be like hyperventilating because you're like, oh, here I am. I'm alive. Mm-hmm. My therapist also suggests if someone is having an anxiety attack to hold something really cold in your hand and focus on that until your hand goes numb. And then you switch to the other hand and kind of go back and forth until the anxiety attack goes away. And so I also feel like if you're someone who suffers from anxiety attacks, having an ice roller like on hand and ready can be really good. So I love that. The last tip that I had is kind of lame, but I'm going to say it anyways. And it's to start saving for your future plans now. And that can mean whatever it means to you. If that's a big vacation, if that's a down payment for a house, if that's school, you want to go to university, if that's that you want to have kids, like it's never too early to start saving. I feel like it's so easy to fall into the trap of like, I'll figure that out later. And obviously, like we have lots of episodes where we talk about how it's still important to travel. It's important to go out to concerts, to go out with your friends, those sorts of things. But I also feel like it's important to sort of prioritize some of your savings and some of your plans. And it just, in the long run, can help you.
100%. Yeah. It's lame, but it's important.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, I think that was everything that we were going to talk about. I hope that you all got some good tips and tricks. And, you know, if you like this episode, we can certainly do a part 3. Or if there's anything that we said that you want us to go into more detail about, definitely let us know and we'd be happy to. You can connect with us on all the social media platforms, but we're the most active on Instagram. Our handle's at our golden 20s. You can also connect with us through Spotify. We have like a little question box for every episode, so feel free to reach out that way. And while you're there, give us a rating, give us a follow, subscribe so you see when our new episodes drop. They come out every single Tuesday at 1 a.m. And if you want to hear it before that, check out our Patreon because we put up the episodes a day early there and they are completely ad-free. I think that's everything. Thanks for listening.
See you next Tuesday.
Bye.